So what we're going to do today is visual imagery strategy. Any of you have any idea what that means? Visual imagery strategy. It's okay if you don't. You've probably never heard it before. What's visual?
See.
Okay, see. Which imagery? Or what's part of imagery that you've seen before? Image? What's an image?
A picture or something?
Okay, so
or like, I don't know.
So right now we're at seeing a picture. Okay, and strategy is just something that you come up with.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is this is for when we read. When we read things, we're going to come up with a strategy to see a picture in our brain. So what we read, what goes through our brain. Okay, so the first activity we're going to do, and we're going to write this on our paper, is I want you to read this line. I'll read it out loud to you, okay? And then you're going to write what picture pops into your mind. Okay, just for these first 3 lines. So Jonathan grumbled as he walked down the sidewalk towards home. His backpack was heavy, for he had lots of homework to do. Write what kind of picture pops in your head.
Is it girl or right?
Right.
No, I'm drawing it.
No, we're going to write what pops into our head when we read those 3 lines. Does that not work?
There is.
You don't need to work?
This is more important.
Okay, once you're done with that, let me know. You done? Right now we're writing what picture pops into your head for these first 3 lines.
Awesome.
No, just writing about what kind of picture. Okay, you're okay. You want to shoot Kobe an honor? An honor pen? Good. Exactly what you're supposed to do.
Well, you got to give this to your teacher.
The video, not the papers. Okay, the next
Like
one.
You slang.
Huh?
Like you slang. I don't got to spell everything right.
No. Spelling does not matter on this. Okay, this is just strictly expressing what's in your mind onto paper. Okay, the next one, we're going to do the same thing. He kicked a stone that was directly in his path. It glistened in the sunlight as it skittered across the cement. Do the same thing. Write what kind of image popped in your head. This is the last one we'll be writing for a while.
Looks like grass on the roof below it.
George doing Ross, you doing good, good. Sam, take your time. Done? Okay, now just put those off to the side. We won't need them for a little bit. Okay, so why we're doing this is students need to read and understand written information to remember the information. Okay? Raise your hand if everything you've ever written, you remembered it right away. You never had to double back and read it. Okay? I have to double back and read things I read all the time. Okay, that's pretty normal. So this is a way to read something and like an image pop in your mind to help you remember it. So the purpose of the strategy is to activate students as they read. Okay? So they're thinking while they're reading, they're not just reading whatever words are on the paper. To enable students to use imagery as they read, to have that image pop into their head. Enable students to talk to themselves about what they read. So if you read a page and you can kind of go through, okay, what did I read? Okay, what kind of image popped in my head? All these kind of things to help you remember what you read. And also to enable students to monitor their reading comprehension. You guys know what comprehension means? What, Sam?
So, think about.
Think about what you read? Okay. It's also just to remember. Okay? To understand what you read. Okay? If I read a page, if I read a page from a book, comprehending that if I was given a quiz, okay, I'll be able to take a quiz over it. Things that fall under, we need word identification. Okay, when you see a word, you can think of what that word means. Okay, if you see the word chair, you know what a chair is, an image pops in your head about what a chair is. Okay, paraphrasing. There's a long sentence, but all you really need out of it is, like we just had, he was kicking sticks. Okay, there was a lot of words on that second one, but pretty much all it was he was kicking a rock down the street. Summarizing it, like I said, a long thing that you can summarize what you went through, self-questioning and visual imagery. They're all along the same lines.
Did you ask if we can go?
I'll ask you after. Expression, demonstration, competence. Okay, sentences, paragraphs, error monitoring, themes, assignment completion, test taking, essay test taking. This is where it really comes in handy when you guys are trying to go to college or, you know, taking a test for class. When you have to read a passage and then you have to answer questions to it. Okay? And honestly, where every day there's a reading, except for math, there's a reading about what we got to learn. Okay? Science, history. Okay? This is along the same lines. When you read that stuff, after you read it, you can it pops in your head, and then you can translate that to when you answer questions. Students often passively read class materials to gain little knowledge. Okay, so they're not reading to really remember, they're just reading because they're told to read. Okay, we want you guys to read to make sure, to help you guys for their tests or assignments. Students remember new information better if there's a picture in their mind. Okay, if you read something and a picture pops in your mind, there's a better chance that you're actually going to remember it when you need to use it for whatever you need to use it for. Okay. The best way for image to pop in your head is if you use older information. If you guys close your eyes and I said, think of a chair in this room. Okay, you could all picture the chair because you've been sitting in them all year. Okay, you use that old information from previous days and throughout the year to remember what the chair looks like. Students remember new information better if they translate into their own words. Okay, so if I were to say, Sam, describe this table for me. You put it in your own words. It's a triangle. How many legs are there?
3.
Okay, that's your own words. I just said describe the chair, and you put them in your own words.
Same. Why you stutter?
You didn't stutter.
It's a triangle.
Okay, so These are some stats. Using visual image, before they started using visual imagery strategy, their ability level materials were 48% and 35%. Okay, those are pretty low. But once they started images popping in their head, they moved up to 89 and 86%. Okay, a big boost for when they started using the strategy while they were reading. And we're probably going to read a book in this class eventually, so that's why we're doing this now, to remember that. Hopefully. You're welcome.
When we watch the movie. When we watch the movie.
After we read the book.
What book?
To Kill a Mockingbird.
I already seen that.
Even better. That's
Yeah.
why I chose that book, because I felt like most of
You capping. I don't even know what that book is.
I feel like most of you have had some experience with it, and that's why I chose it, to kind of get us in slowly.
I haven't even read that book.
Oh my gosh.
Because my concussion, I was told not to. I told you.
Oh, that's right. It's
Okay.
a genius book.
I know, but it's a good movie. Okay, the steps to using visual imagery. It's seen, okay? Search for picture words. You know, if you read a long sentence and you look for the picture words, you know, table, chair, tree, house, those kind of picture words that you can read and instantly an image pops in your head. Okay, create or change the scene. If it's a sentence that doesn't really make sense, but you can find those picture words in there, you can kind of create the scene for you. If it talks about a tree with green grass and a white picket fence, you guys can all kind of picture that for you. Enter lots of details, okay? Ross, read that first sentence to me about what you wrote.
Huh?
Read that for me.
He is busy going home and doing his homework.
Okay, doing his homework. But what detail you could have added was, it was a nice day, okay? There was a person riding their bike next to him. Okay, that's giving lots of details. It's cloudy day, rainy, snowing, there's, you know, driveways. There's a bunch of details, there's cars parked along the street. There's a bunch of details that help you enhance the situation or the scene to help you remember those details. Okay, name the parts, okay? And he named the parts. He was busy, okay? His backpack was full with homework. Those are the separate parts of the sentence that help you remember. And then the last E is for just evaluate it. Once that scene is in your head, evaluate what is the whole picture and how you can use that to remember. Okay. Successful formula for reading is if you use it to have images pop in your head, plus you have to want the effort. Okay, you have to put forth the effort to actually want to learn. Then you'll have success. Okay, if you want to do this, if you read and you're like, I'm going to use visual imagery strategy, but you don't actually do it while you're reading, that's not putting forward the success or the effort to get the success. You have to want to use this. Okay, now we're going to close our eyes. Okay, close your eyes. Don't look at the board. Ross, close your eyes. Okay, raise your hand when I say these words if an image pops in your head. House. Jumping. The. Dancing. Marie. With. Basket. Ms. Johnson. That. Walmart. A. People. And tree. Okay, now you can open your eyes. Okay, see how when you just see or hear words, there's instantly an image that pops in your head? Okay, when I said Miss Johnson, you all an image of your favorite teacher popped in your head. Okay, that's the way this works. You read a word, you hear it in a movie, whatever. it pops in your head, and that will help you comprehend what you're reading. Okay, example of sentences. As Jane stepped out of the pool, she tripped over a rubber raft. Okay? So just picture, there's a neighborhood pool. She's stepping out of this, there's 3 steps. She steps out, but right as she gets out, there's a rubber raft there and she trips over. Okay? What other details could you add to that?
She fell.
She fell? What happened when she fell?
She fell in the water.
She fell in the water? Okay, she fell in the water. Were there people in the water?
She scraped herself.
Were there people in the water?
Yeah.
This is just creating your scene. There's no right or wrong answer because it doesn't say.
There's me in the water.
You're in the water.
Yeah.
Okay, did you put the rubber wrap there to trip her?
Yes.
Okay. See, there's creating the scene, and now instantly, because you've created that scene, now you're going to remember it better. Okay, if you just read, as Jane stepped out of the pool, she tripped over a rubber raft, and you move on.
Yeah.
If you don't think about it, you're going to forget it. This is creating the scene. When I read books, I try to create the whole thing like a movie. Like if I'm making a movie, what kind of scene am I setting up? Okay, that'll help me remember. Okay, next scene. So clear your minds. The 3 planes soared high over the patchwork fields. What do you see?
Bombs dropping?
Bombs dropping from the planes, okay?
No.
Are there people in the no?
We're gonna go there. No,
We're gonna go with
we're gonna
that.
go
Are
there.
there people in the fields?
Yes.
How many people?
A lot.
What kind of people?
Workers.
Workers? Okay.
Yeah. That's
What are they working on? What's the weather like?
for a building.
Cold.
Cold?
I feel like it's hot.
Okay, it's hot because they're working.
I feel like
What color planes? What color planes were they?
It was gray.
They're gray planes. All of them gray planes.
The big gray planes that drop out the bombs.
Okay. Was there anything written on the planes?
Nah.
No. Just blank planes. Okay. Good. See how one sentence we can transform an entire scene.
You just made a murder.
Okay. Last one. Kenny climbed the steps to the castle tower. Okay. What are we picturing?
A girl climbing steps.
A girl. Kenny's a boy's name.
Okay, it'd be either one.
Okay.
It's 2020.
It's 2020.
They're college.
Okay. What's at the top of the steps?
Me.
You're in the tower?
No, he said that.
Yeah.
You're in the
You
tower?
are one ugly girl then.
Okay. Okay.
That's what he think. I think that's something else.
Why is we'll go with Sam's in the tower. Why is Kenny climbing to get to Sam?
They're gay.
Kenny, come on now. Kenny's a girl.
Oh, so Kenny's a girl?
Okay, we're gonna
I
go with
thought
Kenny.
Kenny was a dude.
Kenny's a model.
So why do you got your girl climbing to the top of the tower?
Cause she's a princess.
Okay.
Why
so,
she gotta climb?
So
Why
is
you not climbing?
is she climbing
She
to get
gotta
to you?
climb this tower.
Is she climbing to get to you, or is there something else in the tower that she wants?
I'm in the tower.
Oh, so she's climbing for
She's
Jabari.
Trying to get to me.
Okay, what color
Nah,
tower?
Me and Chamari are up there.
What color tower is it? What color castle is it?
Blue?
It's a gray.
Blue tower.
Yeah.
Okay?
Caribbean.
It's blue. Okay. Are the steps? Is it like a ladder outside, or is it inside?
It's inside, like a little circle.
A little spiral staircase.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Okay. What's one more? When Kenny gets to the top, to Travaris and Sam, what's gonna happen next?
Shoot. No one knows.
Hey, look.
No one knows. Okay.
It's the door is closed after that.
We'll wait for the next sentence to find out.
You ugly.
Okay. So what we did was we described the scene. Okay? We named the scene. The name of the scene is what's written. Okay? Kenny climbed the steps to get to the tower.
And if it's a dude, then we just
Okay.
ride
We're
down
back.
the side of the window.
Okay. We only accept Kenny if he's a girl, or if she's a girl,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we described at least 2 parts. We went more in detail. Okay, we did more than 2 parts, but that's just because I wanted you guys to try to create the best picture as possible. Okay, so describing what's happening. We described, Kenny's walking up the steps. Travaris and Sam are doing God knows what at the top of the steps. Okay?
Get ready.
And Kenny's a girl in the blue castle.
Yep.
Okay, name the parts of this. As the moon shined brightly above, the boat drifted down the river. What are some parts?
Some
What you
boat
mean?
floating on water.
What you mean?
It's a boat drifting on water. Okay, there's one part. What else we got? What color is the boat?
It's made out of wood.
It's made out of wood, so it's wood color.
What?
Is it painted?
No.
Okay.
And it's
I feel like I'm thinking about that one scene in Holes when they killed the black dude.
Okay. So it's just floating because he's dead in the boat. Okay. We'll go off that. You guys know that scene when Sam gets shot?
Me? I don't use that.
Not you.
And plus it's at night.
Okay. But that was at night, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. So name the scene. What's going on? It's talking about water, but what's going outside the river? Okay. They said the scene was in the country, so it wasn't like a city.
Oh, they were shooting.
Yeah.
It's the country. So
Yeah, it was in the country. Okay. Describe at least two parts. There's lots of trees. It's nighttime. Okay. They kind of came up with trees, even though there's usually trees around a river, but they took nighttime from as the moon shined. Okay. Taking little details from that. It's very dark because the moon is out and the sky is black. Okay, so those last three are they all took from the first three letters, or the first three words of the sentence. Okay? Okay. Here's how they added some things. There's a full moon and it reflected off the river. Okay? Can we all think about what the moon looks like reflecting off the river? Okay?
Same thing but upside down.
Well, it's a full moon, so it's a circle. But, yeah, it'd be upside down. And a boat's floating in the river. Okay? Now, describe three parts. What was your image of the moon before? Was it a perfect circle? Was it a full moon? It was? That was that's what popped in your head?
Yeah.
Because when it just says the moon, you get to decide.
Yeah. I thought it was a big moon.
You thought it was the big full moon. Okay, Tavares, did you think of full moon too?
I thought of it like an orangish yellow moon.
Ooh,
Yeah.
now we're getting crazy. Okay, did you think of full moon too?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay, see, we said it was a wood sailboat.
Hey,
We said it was
I got a gas mask. I be wearing it at home. I want to go kill somebody.
What are we doing?
I be wearing it.
Okay. Okay, Travaria said we were in a wood small boat like Sam was in Holes. They said it was in a large blue sailboat. Okay? And the sail was bright white in the moonlight, making no sound as it passes by. So they've got nobody in the sailboat, it's just floating down the river. Okay, so that's a little different than the scene that we created. Okay, that's why we do this, because everyone's gonna have different scenes. Okay, because I guarantee Ross wasn't thinking about when Sam got shot in Holes. But that's what Travaris was thinking.
Or you use a remote grenade launcher. Anything that.
Okay, so your image statements.
But really, I was in the boat with the female.
Cause the boat's not big. The boat's like the size of like.
But his boat is big.
My boat's small.
bro.
Sam learned what yacht is yesterday, and so now that's all he wants. Okay, so image statements. It must have a subject. The boat. Hey, Gerardus, put your phone away. Gerardus.
I'm gonna kill you, bitch. I'm gonna pull up on your car and shoot it up.
The statement must have a subject. The subject is the boat. Okay? And the subject must have a verb attached to it. The boat is floating. Okay? And then you kind of get to fill in. It must be accurate though. Okay? If we're talking about reading Tom Sawyer and he was floating in a boat, I don't think Tom Sawyer had a yacht. Okay? We can't just make up whatever we want to make up. It's got to be somewhat relevant to the story. It must have new information. Okay? That last one, the new information was there was a full moon and there was a blue sailboat. Okay? We didn't have that information to start with. And it must make sense. Like I said, Tom Sawyer didn't have a yacht floating down the Mississippi. No, that would have quite the switch in the stories. Okay. Don't read these next two lines. Okay. 3 planes soared high above the patchwork field. We read that. Okay. And what we described.
Is that where they grow weed at?
No, it's like farm.
So it's not wheat.
No. Wheat or weed?
Wheat. I know where they grow weed. I'm talking about wheat.
Yes. Wheat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we pictured bombs out of falling out of gray airplanes, and there are workers down there. Okay. Next line though. This is a part of the same thing. This is how things can change. Jesse was transfixed in his seat in the movie theater as he watched the 3 planes drop their cargoes. Okay, so they're dropping something, but it's not bombs. They're dropping cargoes.
Are they dropping
Oh,
like
like
the
bombs
parachutes
inside?
with boxes on?
Mm-hmm.
They dropping guns.
Okay. So it's okay. So that's how right now we went from bombs to cargoes full of guns.
But what if the bombs are
Cause they
inside
sound
the car?
dumb.
Nope.
That's how they make
There
their
could be
money.
bombs in them, and when they hit the ground, they blow up.
Okay, so you're sticking with bombs.
Why would they want to know that a bomb's coming down so slow?
Hot, bruh. So they think that it's all good.
That's a lot.
Okay. See,
You
our
ain't
story
really
changed.
got from
Sam's story changed. Travaris is still on bombs. They just look a little different.
They're
What
trying to
do
get
you
the
got?
money.
I said the same
But
thing.
y'all,
That's
Yeah,
bomb.
can we listen, nurse?
Okay.
I want to get one of them face things put on my face.
He wants a mask. Okay. From each plane emerged 5 skydivers in brightly colored flight suits. Do you think skydivers are going to jump in after a bomb?
No. Yeah. They got to come make sure everybody dead. And
That's
if
what I
they're not
was
dead, they
thinking,
could come in and kill everybody.
Okay. So,
They from Iran.
You know what I think?
This is a very
I think they coming down to sell the guns,
huh?
and the people up there are just waiting, just chilling. They're gonna.
Do you think? Okay.
Or it might be some Fortnite characters.
Okay. Do you think they dropped the cargoes, and right when they dropped the cargoes, the skydivers jumped out right after?
No, like
Do you think they waited a little bit?
There's a lot of skydivers.
an hour later.
5.
I feel like
And they're in bright colored flight suits.
there's 5.
5 of them.
Oh, they can be juggernauts then.
From each plane.
From each plane?
From each plane, 5.
Alright, they
15.
juggernauts then.
Okay.
What's that?
You know what that is?
This is before that?
Uh-uh.
I don't know.
Okay. See how the story changes. We create a scene. We read the next one. It changes a little
I
bit.
imagine people coming out with the guns.
Are
Flying.
the cargoes? Or the skydivers came out with guns?
Skydivers.
Cause you don't know what a juggernaut suit is? Dang.
Okay.
Like
Moving
if they came
forward.
down here right now, we're gonna be able to kill them.
Okay.
They're
Hey,
gonna kill you. and all
moving
us.
forward.
They gonna kill me.
But I'm not
Okay.
my gas mask.
We're
on
still in
my
the
eye.
same scene though. Each skydiver held a brightly colored ring.
Ring.
What do you think of that? What image popped in your head?
They might be married to a couple of strippers.
Ross.
I think it's
Oh.
it's some undetective stuff.
A brightly colored, like
Undercover?
what they mean coloring, like.
I don't know. That's all it says.
Oh, what if it's? Never mind. I was gonna say Thanos, but never mind.
Those were stones.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that really didn't give us a lot because we don't know what kind of ring it was. Sam, do you have an idea with the ring, or you want to keep reading to find out?
I want you to read.
Okay. As the planes flew away, each group of 5 skydivers held their rings in the form of the Olympic symbol. You know what the Olympic symbol is?
Yeah, like the 3.
They were in the Olympics.
So 5 rings.
Oh, they doing some type of Olympic event or something.
Okay. So since they're affiliated with the Olympics, do we still think there were bombs involved?
What if they were trying to save people from the bombs? Like what if they were
The bombs
superheroes?
came from their planes.
What if
though.
they were superheroes and they were saving the bombs?
Okay. Do you still think there's guns involved?
Why would they drop something down there? What is it?
I don't know. Okay, so right now, because we don't know what's in the cargoes are just filled with unknown
It's
stuff.
the Amigos.
It could be equipment.
What you said?
Equipment.
Equipment. Okay. The movie ended, and Jesse said to his friend Dakota, "Wow, that was great. I'd love to try that someday." So he took from this whole thing, he wants to skydive.
You know what it is? You know what's in the boxes?
What?
Gas.
Or stripping poles.
Okay.
They
No.
wouldn't do that for no gas. They do it for some,
Okay.
some
Moving on.
powder.
Cause I'm not talking about
Affirmation.
smoking gas. I'm
Hey,
talking about gas that'll kill you.
affirmations. Using visual imagery helps become a great reader. Okay? They can help you remember things. Okay, you all remember what we just read, right? Now that we created our entire scene. You guys, I mean, that didn't just leave you. You remember our detailed conversation.
Do we gotta write all this down?
No.
Oh.
Using visual imagery helps me remember new information. Okay? What new information did we hear from those 6 lines about the plane? What's some new information we found out that we didn't know when we first started reading about it?
A plane.
No, we knew planes.
There's people jumping out of planes.
Okay, we learned skydivers.
Cause
Yep.
at first we said it was
Olympics.
bombs.
Olympic rings. What's something you learned that wasn't in that first one about 3 planes?
They were dropping cargo too, weren't they?
Cargo?
Yeah, say that.
Okay, good.
And it's
So that's new information. Using visual imagery helps me understand what I read. Okay? You guys just summarize what we read. Okay? You guys remember. I'm a good reader when I use strategies, I know. Okay, now we're back to our papers. Now, after using this strategy, it's the same sentence we did at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Now describe the scene. Jonathan grumbled as he walked down the sidewalk towards home. His backpack was heavy for he had lots of homework to do. Now using visual imagery, write what pops into your head.
I got a strong visual.
You got a strong visual, okay? Put that on paper.
Homework can be anything.
Exactly, okay? Now you can describe this entire scene that you can create off of these 3 lines.
Can you read that again?
Jonathan grumbled as he walked down the sidewalk towards home. His backpack was heavy, for he had lots of homework to do. And you can you can go word by word. Jonathan was wearing blank and grumbled. I mean, you can go word by word. You can completely transform the statement. This is just what kind of image popped into your head.
Sam, bro.
Yes.
You gonna jump somebody today?
Sure.
What?
You done?
Yeah.
Yours got a lot longer. I'm not gonna read it.
Yeah, you was.
Or we're gonna read it out loud.
No, you can't read it.
That's fair. Yours got longer.
It ain't really nothing, bro.
So what's this?
It's above your waist.
I know. I can do the eyeball, but
Johnson,
Yes, baby.
is there a dent in your board? My fault. I can't even hoop no more since I punched that board. When I shoot, my wrist hurt.
So why do you want to go hoop?
So I can get better.
That's a good response.
I was trash.
That's a really good response.
I got trash, and then like since I started back playing, I've been like getting better. But I used to be like super cold at basketball. Nobody
I got
stopped me.
Okay. So, do any of you want to read? That's your second one, the one you just wrote.
Oh man.
Read.
Okay, he was lost trying to find his way home. And mad because he had homework.
That's all I
you got
wrote.
to say?
I don't know. That just came in my head.
Here's the thing, though. You added 2 new pieces of information.
And my
You said he was
phone.
lost. Okay. There's no one here that says lost. Okay. So you pictured him
Because he
lost.
was mad.
You pictured him lost. And you said he was mad about homework. Okay? He was grumbling, but this could have been about a girlfriend or, this could have been about anything, and you translated to is about how much homework you have.
Yes.
Okay? Do you want
I
to read
said,
yours
I
or
said
no?
it was because he's like mad at school and he had to walk home and he had a lot of stuff to do at home, and he still had to do his homework. Yeah, fuck
Did-
school.
Did any of you describe the scene at all?
Kind of.
Nah.
What'd you add? What'd you describe to the scene?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna say, and the dog started chasing me.
There we go. That's adding to the scene. I don't think he'd be walking anymore.
When people,
That's okay.
I was gonna say they robbed him. I was gonna say they were trying to rob him because he got mad. He was grumpy,
See, when it just says grumbled,
and he had to.
It
go
doesn't
home
say what
and
he's
think about
grumbling
the
at.
plan because it was homework.
okay. What'd you add to the scene?
This is what I thought.
I was trying to say he got lost in the neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay.
Nobody added weather. Nobody added anything about the weather. You didn't have to. I'm just asking.
He had to look at eyes.
Okay. But here's the reason this is good though. Tavares' first one.